Hello everybody and welcome back to Mining Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler. I'm fresh off the Mythic Championship, which was pretty fun, and this week I have a great deck queued up for you. This is Mono Green Control. Yeah, you heard that right. Mono Green Control. This top aided, I believe it was an STG IQ a while back. I spied the list and I wanted to give it a shot. Unfortunately, I was able to find the list, but not the person who played it. So I apologize if I'm not able to shout you out here. But this one's worth playing. It's great. Feel free to chime in the YouTube comments. I will give you all the credit. I love this deck. So what are we going to do? We are going to destroy people with mono green. That's what we're going to do. So you can see the plan. We're going to ramp. We're going to play Vivian Reeds. We are playing Modern, I promise. We're going to play Primal Commands. This deck just does a lot of really, really cool stuff. So definitely going to enjoy this this turn 3 Vivian Reed here. That's for sure. Yeah, a big fan of this deck. We're going to lock them out in the endgame. We're going to blow up all their lands. Oh, my opponent's probably going to kill our Arbor Elf or something here, I imagine. Nope, okay. I guess I'll name blue. We do, after all, have Repudiate, Replicate in our deck, which, by the way, is a pretty cool card, and also a Ravnica Allegiance Edition. Stifle the Modern, everybody. This deck is really cool. So we can add blue with this, but for the moment, I will just be... I mean, I have 4 mana here. You know, I could play a Ballista for 1, but that seems pretty bad. Rather wait for my opponent to play something here. You know, honestly, I guess I'll... It's wasteful, I suppose, but I'll just use this Elvish Mystic. Attack with 1. And see what happens. Don't know what our opponent's up to, but I know that our hand's very, very good if we get on tap with this board here. But yeah, so I just got back from... Oh, we've gotten Thoughtseize. Well, luckily for us, we have multiple payoffs here. Yeah, I just got back from the Mythic Championship. It was so cool to see Autumn win. They had a great run. It was really neat. I got to cover the finals myself. It was awesome. It was a really neat event with an awesome winner, and it was fun. I love working those whenever I can. And this is what I'm getting to. The best part, maybe not the best part. All right, how about this? One of the best parts is that Merfolk went 8-2 in the standard portion in the hands of Raph Levy. So shout out to Hall of Famer Raph Levy for an incredible Merfolk deck. I certainly hope I get chances to record with it. I will definitely be streaming that one over the next couple weeks on Twitch. See Hostler88 if anyone's interested. All right, so our opponent has done nothing but Thoughtseize away our Vivian Reed, and that means the door is wide open for this Primal Command here. In fact, I have to figure this out. I have 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, actually. Let's Primal Command, put the Blood Crypt probably back on top of the... Maybe this, actually, I don't know. Put one of these lands on top of their library. And go search out for one of our own, is I believe what I'm going to do here. I don't know what I'm going to get. We'll figure that out later. Alright, so put target non-creature permanent on top of its owner's library, search for a creature card, and reveal it. They're probably more likely to need... Do we think they need green or red more likely? I don't know. I would assume... I have no idea what they're doing. Probably green. I'll just get that. Probably doesn't matter too much here. All right, what do we want? We don't know what our opponent is actually doing. I mean, I assume Jund or whatever. Eternal Witness seems, honestly, quite good here. But it is also just tempting to get an Acidic Slime or whatever and blow up their lands. I could also get an Eternal Witness with the goal of, you know, I could get Hornet Queen, just play it next turn, and get E-Witness to buy back Vivian. And not knowing what our opponent's up to makes it a little difficult, but it stands to reason if they weren't going to Thoughtseize us or Inquisition us second time last turn, they won't be doing it this turn when they draw a land off the top of their deck that we put there. So with that in mind, next turn I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, which is not enough without a land to Eternal Witness plus Vivian, but it is enough to play a Hornet Queen or an Acidic Slime. Wow, this really is hard. I think I'm going to go with the Hornet Queen here. Just because I believe it to be the best payoff. You know, I'm not certain, but if they were to have another discard spell somehow, hey, we have 2 payoff cards in our hand, right? Even if one of them is probably much better than the other. Oh, wow, they're going to do nothing. Okay, so that's a good... Ooh, Transfer is nice, too. Trinisphere, very good against them. In fact, could Trinisphere and Walking Ballista for 2? That's not a bad plan. I still like holding the Ballista. It's probably just correct to slam Hornet Queen, though. All right, so that's what we're going to do. As much as I want to play Trinisphere, and trust me, I do, I think we're just supposed to run out of Hornet Queen right now. It's also very efficient on our mana. That certainly doesn't hurt. And our opponent has to have a board wipe to deal with it, and it's unlikely that Jund is, main decking Anger of the Gods or what have you here. So, Liliana's, Lightning Bolts, Fatal Pushes, all of that stuff, not very good. That said, my opponent has done nothing but play lands and a Thoughtseize, so I don't actually know that they are playing Jund. It might be a different Jund-colored deck, if you know what I mean. So, we'll see. This might give it away. They're tapping a couple mana and paying some costs? Maybe? Oh, that's annoying. Alright, goodbye, insects. Unfortunately for... Oh my gosh. That's just devastating for them. Let's go ahead and play a Vivien. Not bad, I'd say. This card, by the way, extremely good in Modern. I mean, I know it's not surprising to say 5-mana Planeswalker is good, but it's very good on turn 3. It can destroy most things that you'll care about. I mean, it won't kill a Tarmogoyf or what have you, but it's got a lot of loyalty. Keep in mind, this thing goes up to 6 immediately. It's just a lot. It's just really difficult. Sometimes your opponent's Tarmogoyf won't even kill it. Sometimes you'll play it, you'll get a card with it. Your opponent will swing with their 5/6 Tarmogoyf, and you'll get another card with it, right? This is what you call a big whiff, though. That said, I could take the land and play the Trinisphere. I'm probably going to do that. Think this play is good. Our opponent is going to be somewhat short on mana here. There's a lot they have to deal with. I think we're in the clear. The thing is, playing the Trinisphere makes it extraordinarily unlikely that they will be able to deal with everything we have going on here, which is great. You play Trinisphere on turn 2, and then you never have to play something else, right? See, this is so beautiful. My opponent can't play this Fatal Push. Look at this. We did, I think, right? Because I believe, yeah, and I'm right. Let me tell you about not paying mana costs in Magic. No, you did not have to pay the mana cost of that Fatal Push to cast it. However, that means you're paying 0 mana for it. And that means it costs 3. Sorry. By the way, this right now, like I said, I just brought it up. This is the difference between Vivien and something like Jace. If I were to Jace Brainstorm in that position, it's going to die to the Bloodbraid Elf, just like we're playing Standard in 2011 or whatever, right? Vivien, no problem. I can still even minus it if I wanted. That said, now things are just going to get quite silly here. I mean, I do have to pay 3 for this Utopia Sprawl if I want it. Probably going to get the Z-Witness, though. All right, I assume we're at the same. What are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 mana. That's enough. I like it. All right, let's E-Witness. I mean, this one should end the game. We got to put another land back on top of their deck. And we got to go search for another Eternal Witness, honestly, probably. Not able to get the Utopia Sprawl down this turn, but that's okay. Our Trinisphere's already put in work. Alright, we'll put this Overgrown Tomb back on top. You got to be consistent with what you troll them with, right? And this deck does that very well. People do not like land destruction. And Mwonvuli Acid-Moss, well, that one hurts. Primal Command's pretty annoying. Repudiate your fetch land? Yes, please. Yeah. But also, by the way, there's Plow Unders in the deck. And Plow Under, that's the best. Put 2 target lands on top of their owner's library. Anyway, so I got a lot of options here. I mean, I could even take the Stampeding Zero and play it next turn to start picking up my stuff. That might be the best plan. I'm in. And get in with our Hornet Queen here. So the Bloodbraid won't kill the Vivien. They can't even, if they want a Lightning Bolt, it's going to take 3 mana. The Eternal Witness can trade with the Bloodbraid Elf, and we get to untap player 0 and just start picking up Hornet Queens and Eternal Witnesses. Or we can do none of that, and we can just go to the sideboard. What do you say? All right, so I don't know actually though. You know, we're playing against Jund, and I don't actually know what we want against Jund is the problem. I want the Balos, I think. I want the oozes and the bombs. What don't I want? That is the question. This actually seems pretty good here. Cut a Mwonvuli Acid-Moss. We can kind of trim at the edges here, right? Yeah, it only gets us down to 64, though. I'm not sure exactly where I want to be here. You know, I like the idea of the Ratchet Bombs, but maybe in practice they're not quite worth it. I worry about a Liliana specifically, but maybe we just don't want to go that route. Maybe we have plenty of creatures. I mean, we just demonstrated how bad Liliana can be against us. I definitely do need to cut a 5, though, I believe here. Honestly, I don't even know if you want if you want more ballistas, right? If they have Dark Confidants and all that, or you know, we exile their graveyards. I do like having some number of Baloths, and just in case we get them where they make us discard a card and all we have is Baloth, and then we get to put it into play. That's always fun. I'm gonna cut a Plow Under. I might cut another. I'm actually going to cut the Mwonvuli Acid-Moss here. I'm going to take a slightly different track against Jund. I don't know if it's correct. I'm going to minimize some of our land destruction elements while still having some of them, because it is, in fact, very good against Jund to have the mana destruction. But you can also just die to a Tarmogoyf that way, you know? So, all right, let's get in with this Utopia Sprawl. Now, there's no Arbor Elf this time around, which does, in fact, make it much worse. But this hand's still pretty sweet. We get to have 3 mana next turn. And there's the Confidant. That was the problem. Alright, so we'll put this here. I'll just say green again, because I can say blue on the next one. Alright, we will play a Scooz. And I will Utopia Sprawl it again. So, you know, there's a lot going on here. And I am, in fact, quite concerned with the Dark Confidant. That said, if we can dodge this turn... Oh, there's a Bolt, okay. If we can dodge this turn and get to Primal Command, then we might have a shot. I actually don't know what the converted mana cost of this is anymore after the changes. I think it's 5. I think this might be a whiff on the Inquisition. And then, yeah, it was. All right, wow. It was a whiff on the Inquisition, which is perfect. And my opponent missed a land drop. That's pretty good. Okay, so how much mana do we have right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not bad, right? I'm just going to Primal Command. We're going to... I guess I have to let them have a land. To their Dark Confidant. I can't kill the Confidant quite yet, but what I can do here is put the Raging Ravine on top of their library, and probably go get a Walking Ballista, honestly. I would very much like my opponent to not have a Dark Confidant anymore. Now, it is true that the Walking Ballista doesn't... In fact, it's not going to stick around at all, so... Yeah, we've still got a ways to go here. You know, I was worried about that happening. Dark Confidant is hard to beat. We have draw steps that are very good, though. Like that. How much mana do I have total here? 4, 5, 6, huh? Again with the 6. So, I cannot Eternal Witness Ballista for 2, but I could Eternal Witness... This is just going to be absolutely fine, though. All right, so we're going to go ahead and Eternal Witness here. Get back the Walking Ballista. Just use the Walking Ballista to kill the Dark Confidant. I accept. Eternal Witness is just such a classic Magic card, and it's just so good. That's what's nuts. It's still just so... It's just the best possible card in this matchup. This card's like 15 years old or something insane, right? We get to take out their Dark Confidant, and they are back to trying to find lands off the top of their deck. And... remember what I said about Stifle in Modern? It turns out it's not just Stifle. Replicate. I can make a copy of my Eternal Witness, get back my Primal Command. My opponent needs a Liliana here. They did hit a land. You know, Tarmogoyf's just not going to do it. Nothing wrong with Tarmogoyf, but I just don't think it's going to get the job done here. I'd like to hit land, really. Oh, Plowunder, huh? Huh. You know, I've got this Baloth, and I've got a lot of time, and I have 6 mana. I'm just going to Plowunder. And I think the way I clicked this, I'm not exactly sure how this... Oh, we're going to get bolted? That's a sorcery. I guess that play wasn't going to work out anyways. Well, our opponent's doing nothing for several turns now, so we're at the mercy of our deck. But really, it still seems fine, right? Even if my opponent hits us for 4, we untap and play Baloth, and if we hit a land, we also get a copy of the Baloth. We're going to gain 8 life, at least, if that's the the route we go. But we are probably going to get 4 out of it no matter what. Our opponent's not casting any more spells. See, I don't know. I clicked on the Ravine first. I would have thought it would have put the Ravine and then the other. Or maybe they get to choose? I don't actually know how that works. For all I know, they get to choose how they go on there. Let's see what we draw here. Oh. All right. I changed my mind. I'm willing to take another hit. I'm willing to take another hit from this Tarmogoyf to get this Raging Ravine out of here forever. And we hit another land that way. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. No, this seems fine. All right, so yeah, I mean, this is actually, funny enough, this is why I cut a lot of the land destruction from the deck, so I didn't just die to a Tarmogoyf this way. But, oh, that's a nice one too. All right, so now I have 7 mana, and 7 mana is a better number because it means I can play the Baloth and then copy the Baloth. Now I'm back up to 15 life, and actually have blockers for this thing. You know, and if in some world that doesn't work out, well, we still have Primal Command. Now, my opponent could have a Terminate or something here that would be quite bad for us. So that is worth keeping in mind. If that happens, I think we're still okay. We can still Primal Command after that for Hornet Queen. Maybe I should have Primal Commanded this turn for Hornet Queen. It's hard to say. But I'm just going to go ahead and give this a shot, I think. You know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We get something out of their hand at least. And it's not going to work. We're going to get terminated. Okay. Well, that's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. We go down to 6 on this hit here. I Primal Command to get Eternal Witness. And like I said, I think we might still have ways to dig out of this. And I do have a lot of mana here. Alright, so we'll choose their Blood Crypt. And I do have exactly 3 mana, so that is pretty convenient. And we might still die here. You know, our opponent could have removal. Yeah, there's still ways that we lose the game for sure. I do like getting Eternal Witness, though. Alright, what do I want to return? That's the question. I could return the Primal Command. I kind of like getting the Scavenging Ooze. This will, basically, I think what this is going to make the game look like now is our opponent is either going to kill our Eternal Witness and kill us. Discard gets there as well. Pretty good. But if they don't have that, they don't have green mana, they have 3 cards. They just drew a Blood Crypt. They might not be able to do much. And I get a chump block here, and if I get a Resolve Scavenging Ooze, not only do I get to control, to an extent, how big the Tarmogoyf is, I get to gain some life. By the way, this is one of the reasons that you only ever want 1 blue on your Utopia Sprawls. Alright, so let's just go ahead and immediately eat their Dark Confidant. Alright, so I believe the Raging Ravine's the only land in there. I am going to play this Elvish Mystic out. Okay, well, our opponent is back to having live draws, but we have a Scavenging Ooze. After that, we are at the mercy of our deck, but Scavenging Ooze is quite good. We can grow it out of bolt range. They need... Yeah, that's why we played Elvish Mystic right there. My opponent actually kind of messed up. If they had attacked first, I might have chumped with the Elvish Mystic. I mean, probably not. I would have wanted to play around Liliana, so I might not have, but this Liliana is just no value. You throw the Elvish Mystic away, I'll just eat it. Yeah, that's fine. My Scavenging Ooze isn't big enough to deal with the Goyf quite yet. Oh, they're not even going to attack. Maybe they didn't realize that this is on blue. I could destroy all my own graveyard. It's kind of awkward with Eternal Witness, but it does make their attack bad. So, yeah, this is going to be really difficult for my opponent, I think. All right, let's just go ahead and start eating their spells. We have sorceries. We have no instants in ours. Let's eat the instants. Let's eat a creature so we get out of bolt range here. Yeah, this is actually smart to play around this. I almost didn't play. I mean, depending, we might tap out next turn, and I want my Scavenging Ooze to be a 4/4 in case that happens, is what I'm saying. All right, we'll hit their land. That'll shrink the Goyf as well. So, okay, problem solved. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's copy this thing. It's not like that's very good, though. Maybe I just hold it. All right, let's attack the Liliana. What's the worst that could happen? I actually don't know what's... This game is not over yet, though. I mean, our opponent does have cards, and our deck is very powerful. I'm not entirely convinced that our deck top decks very well. We have a lot of mana dorks. We can draw a lot of Utopia Sprawls. There's a lot of bad stuff that could happen here. And this is only of creatures you control. Of course, our opponent has no more green mana, and they could be sitting on Maelstrom Pulses and Goyfs and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and eat something, and eat a creature. Guess I'll eat the Eternal Witness since we have another one in there. And now let's see what we can do about... I guess I have my own instant at this point. I can get rid of a Planeswalker, though. Should be able to get rid of the instants, I think. Just doing work with Scavenging Ooze, I guess. Alright, that makes it a 3/4. I'm much more comfortable with that, I think. They have no graveyard. Alright, I will take the 3 damage here. You can make the argument that actually I shouldn't have gone so hard there. I should have left up the Repudiate. But, you know, that wouldn't have fixed a Dark Confidant problem anyways. Yeah, that's the Arbor Elf I was talking about. You know, like I said, there's a lot going on, a lot going right for us here, but there's still a lot of work to do, and Jund is pretty good at top decking their way out of stuff like this. I wish I had a better answer here. The problem with... This is so rough. The problem with playing this as a sorcery to make a copy of Scavenging Ooze, and it's probably what I'm going to do, though. It's just the only way to play around anything. We can use that to make another big ooze. I think this is correct. Okay. Well, the thing is, we need to hope that this Dark Confidant actually works to our advantage here. You know, it doesn't suck that Liliana was hit off of it. That's a -3 to them, and Liliana's no good here. Arbor Elf's going to the bin probably one way or another. And my opponent, you know, tapping down low for Liliana. I'm just not scared of these sacrifice effects here. These mana dorks working out perfectly. So I can exile this to make this a 3/4 again, and I can just exile two. I can just exile creatures if I really just want to go in on these scavenging oozes. And at this point, there may not be a reason not to. You know, we might just be set. I'm keeping in mind my Eternal Witnesses or Primal Commands or whatever, but you know, maybe at this point I just kill them. You know, see what we draw. I don't hate that. How many creatures do I have in my graveyard? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can make it a 6/6. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna get in with both of these. I guess I can't get in with both of them, can I? I get in with the one. They're happy to keep their... I'm fine with their Liliana for another turn. We'll send this one at them. They won't be able to kill it. They should... I mean, they probably shouldn't chump with the Confidant, but they might have to play risky with the Confidant. You don't know. It depends what they have in hand and what they're digging for here. They need Terminates or Fatal Pushes or the like. Trinisphere, though, Trinisphere is going to make these things a lot worse for them. Okay, so I'm going to start by exiling my own instant. And now I'm going to exile my own artifact. Alright, so now my opponent can't Lightning Bolt this Scavenging Ooze, I believe. I mean, interestingly, you know, they actually did decide they needed to chump block. They just chose to do it with the Tarmogoyf, huh? The old chump blocking Tarmogoyf. Yeah, that play does make sense. We'll see if they have the Bolt here. They don't. So, Trinisphere has resolved. I get to eat the Goyf immediately. Bring this thing up to a 3/3, and now I have 2 mana. So, my opponent's in quite a bit of trouble. They need a lot... I was going to say they need a lot of help with the Dark Confidant. And Dark Confidant did help. The only problem is it helped me. Bloodbraid Elf into Trinisphere. We saw how that one worked out for them. I think my opponent's in a lot of trouble here. You know, they're not dead or anything like that, but they are in quite a bit of trouble. Liliana does nothing. You know, they need hard removal. Maybe they drew it, but they might just die to their own Confidant at this point, even if they were to deal with my Scavenging Oozes. So every fetch land is dangerous. In fact, they're going down to 3 here. This is back up against the wall for Jund. Now, game's not over. Keep in mind, there are cards like Maelstrom Pulse that's the card we lose to, right? And that's what it looks like, actually. All right, so that's what we lose. Oh, Kitchen Finks. Okay. Interesting. I was going to say a Maelstrom Pulse on our Scavenging Oozes and then killing us in the next 4 turns with Dark Confidant while just not dying to your own Dark Confidant. I think that was their best. That was what might get us. You know, it didn't work out for them. So we do have to attack the Liliana now. No, I just have to attack my opponent. Wow, they discarded their own Scavenging Ooze. That's rough. And not the way you want it to go. We can also exile the Kitchen Finks, remember, when it hits the graveyard from Persist. Oh, gosh. Oh, I'm just very good at the game right now, as you can tell. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. They have none of those. I have plenty of mana, though. All right, let's attack them. The Liliana, yeah, hitting Vivian Reed here was just game over. All right, this forces double chump blocks, you know, and then the Finks goes away. It's going to be rough for them all around. All right, so we'll let the Persist trigger go on the stack. We'll eat that thing right up. My opponent has 1 card in hand and 2 mana with a Trinisphere in play. All right, goodbye, Finks. Persist no more. No trample on my creatures. So they do live another turn, and they get it actually minus their Liliana and take out one of my Scavenging Oozes if they want. You know, there was a path to them to even in this situation get back in the game if we hadn't drawn Vivian Reed. You know, Vivian Reed's just going to be the nail in the coffin. It's just going to allow us to reload our hand here. So let's run that thing out. Now, depending on what happens, the Liliana could... Okay, so, yep, I'm just going to get Eternal Witness. seems silly. I can't play it. My opponent can just plus Liliana and kill it. But if they do that and get rid of it, but if they do that, that means that they're not minusing to get rid of Scavenging Ooze. So they need Maelstrom Pulse for Scavenging Ooze, plus Liliana to get rid of Eternal Witness. And then they have to figure out how to deal with Vivian Reed. So still a lot of work for them to do here. And they have one card in hand. Bloodbraid Elf, okay. Assassin's Trophy that you can't play. Oh, man. How good is Trinisphere in Modern, everybody? Look at this. Twice my opponent tried to play Bloodbraid Elves and do it, and it didn't work. We did it. Mono green control, taking out Jund. I love it. I love it, everybody. This was great. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mighty Modern, and you know what? That was fun. Let's run it back. I'm in for another. Hey, everybody. Here we go with some more mono green control. So our opponent has the play, leading off with a Soul Scar Mage, huh? This hand is reasonable, I think, on our part. It is certainly slow. This hand would have been just way better on the play. Obviously, every hand would be, right? But it does have a game plan, you know. It does have ramp, land destruction, ramp, get back in the game, right? So I don't know what our opponent's going to be up to. I don't know what Soul Scar Mage means. I think it probably means the stupid mono red Phoenix deck that I played myself a couple weeks ago. Apologies for the audio on that one. RIP. I know. I'm sorry. I got a new computer, which is great. What's not great is that, you know, I just spent so long trying to set everything up, and then the microphone just somehow broke between my old computer and my new computer. It's fixed now. Trust me, I'm not going to bore you with my technical details, but what I do know is our opponent did only put one Phoenix in the graveyard, so I guess that's something, right? Anyways, so I think everything's fixed now. Let me know what you think. That was the point. All right, so our opponent, they did find the Phoenix into the graveyard, but they only have the one land. So this is actually going to make this game really interesting because this deck is, I'm not going to say broken, but it's a Phoenix deck, though, so it can do broken things, right? I think that's probably the best way to put it. So if my opponent hits land here and really just kind of gets to pop off or whatever, we're going to be in trouble. But if all they have is this Monastery Swift Spear, I think we're going to be okay because I get to untap and I get them on Mwonvuli Acid-Moss away, their only land, which is great. And then we get to go from there, right? From that point on, honestly, it seems fairly elementary for us to get there. So goodbye, mountain. Hello, forest. Your turn. This Arbor Elf not coming in anytime soon, but I mean, this game isn't over though. Their deck plays it plays Gut Shot. It has free spells. That actually would have been the most devastating thing is if they ended up killing our Arbor Elf with a Gut Shot there. But missing on land is going to make this very difficult for them. Kind of odd. You know what I'm actually playing? I'm actually going to make next turn. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play Prime. What is this? Oh, they have Mutagenic Growth too. Wow, they have all the free spells. It just doesn't matter how bad a Phyrexian mana spell is. It just doesn't matter. Even Gut Shot is powerful in this deck. I actually think I have a pretty cool line here, though. Normally, in fact, I would say 99.9% of the time, you're putting a non-creature permanent on top of their library to deny them a draw step. Not actually an option here. You know what is, though? Gaining 7 life and shuffling their graveyard into their library. That includes a Phoenix. More importantly, it lowers the land ratio in their deck even more. This is actually just kind of funny. I honestly don't know if I have ever cast Primal Command, and I've been playing Magic since this card was printed, pretty much right when this card was printed, right after that, but I don't think I've ever chosen these two modes on the card together, at least in a competitive setting. All right, target player gains 7 life, and they shuffle their graveyard. All right, I'll gain 7. You can shuffle your graveyard. That's so sick. The insane Primal Command value out of nowhere against the Arclight Phoenix decks is great. The gaining life after they just Mutagenic Growth to get in for damage, also great. I love the way. I don't know if we're going to win the match, but I love the way this game has gone. And now it's time. Now it's time to go ahead and lay down the hammer. It's a Hornet Queen. I suspect this will get the scoop from our opponent when they have no permanents on turn 6, if they choose to attack. Wow, we have done absolutely nothing this game in our draw step either, too. That's what's funny. I think the only card that was not in our opening hand was this Arbor Elf specifically. That's just kind of funny. All right, so let's go ahead and get in. I'll leave a couple back. I should have gone ahead and used the Pendlehaven. There was no reason not to. I mean, it's fine using it on defense, but my opponent's just not going to attack. I should just use it to get in damage. Honestly, I maybe should have just attacked with all the flyers. I would have done 2 more, put him at 10. I would have taken a turn off the clock. I added a turn to the clock in order to have death touch blockers, as opposed to chump blocks if my opponent has mutagenic growth or whatever. I think it's fine. This is one of those situations. Excuse me. This is one of those situations, I think, where... yep, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's one of the situations where you look at the game state and you're like, man, this is so good for us. We did so many things right, and we're killing and we're dominating. But that's the wrong way to look at the game. The way to look at the game is to say, how do I lose this game? And the way I lose this game is by getting, really aggro on my attacks and then somehow just taking a giant hit back. This handles that problem quite easily. I think I actually want to leave him the Swift Spear. Like the extra turn. My opponent's playing, mono red Phoenix. We're still doing nothing, by the way. Now they only have 1 creature, though. I'm much less scared. I'm happy to get in for 5 now. I'm sorry for lost my train of thought there. This was an interesting game, though. I like that our opponent did have something. We would have won the game anyways, but it is nice that I actually did. Yeah, I make a lot of bad plays. I get it. And YouTube lets me know every time. I appreciate it. But it is nice to know that sometimes I do make good plays and sometimes they do pay off. The extra turn, the extra draw step we give them, just not going to matter. They're playing mono red. We know what they're doing. We know what their deck is. They're not going to kill us because we gave them 1 extra draw step when they have no permanents, right? But they might kill us if we get really greedy and they go Phyrexian mana crazy and take us out in 1 big swing or something. So, as it stands now, we have lethal in the air next turn. Oh, Forked Bolt. Forked Bolt's actually really good. Really good. I mean, they are dead. I'm not even going to play. We won this game with our opening hand. We just never had to draw anything else. We're going to get some sweet Pendlehaven value in here. We'll wait and see which one our opponent blocks and Pendlehaven the other one. I won't lie, I kind of questioned why this was in this deck. Apparently, so you can turn your Arbor Elf into a 2/3 and kill your mono red Phoenix opponent. Alright. Sideboard time. I think I know what I want. What do you say? Yeah, that all seems great. This seems pretty terrible. The Vivian Reeds don't even seem very good here, to be honest. The Plowhunters are pretty bad. Oh, excuse me. Trinisphere, great. All right, what are we at here now? 62? Do I really want these Tormod's Crypts along with the Grafdigger's Cage? I mean, maybe. I'll go with 1 Tormod's Crypt here. This deck can actually just play out aggro. It doesn't have to have Phoenixes, which is actually what's pretty cool about it as a deck, to be quite honest. I'm going to cut... Just cut another Vivian. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'll got a Mwonvuli Acid-Moss. Yeah, this is not... the reason these Phoenix decks have become good in Modern is because the backup plan is so good. The Izzet Phoenix deck just wins by transforming Thing in the Ice. This deck just wins by killing you with Prowess creatures. These decks all have something else going on for them. And in this deck particularly, I played it a few weeks ago, the Phoenixes are just value. They lead to some very broken starts, but sometimes you just pay 4 mana and have a 3/2 hasty flyer, and that's what you do with them. All right, I would take a Utopia Sprawl off the top next turn. That'd be great. So I could Mwonvuli Acid-Moss. If we could just take care of that game, please. Otherwise, I'll probably just play a Trin. I'm just gonna play Trinisphere next turn. Yes, we do have a Scavenging Ooze in our hand, but our opponent, remember, playing Phyrexian mana spells. Happy to happy to let them figure out how to deal with a Trinisphere. Light Up the Sage is the coolest card. I love this card. What did they hit? The Mountain and the Phoenix. Oh, that's awkward. It's actually, oh no, that's a disaster. That's actually really awkward to have a Phoenix exile that you can't play. I guess we'll play our Skoos now. They have a Bolt, they have a Bolt. A Forked Bolt. That's funny, they exiled a Phoenix for us. I love it. One down. No, I was talking about Light Up the Sage. It is just, it's divination. That's all it is. It's like a 1-mana divination sometimes, but it's just so enormously, ridiculously powerful. Sometimes you pay 3 mana for it, but it's just, it feels so much better than divination. I guess it's because you only ever see it in decks, you know, where it's like if they hit lands and they didn't have to draw lands, even though it doesn't necessarily make sense. It's just kind of how it feels. And when they hit good stuff with it, I mean, they always hit low mana spells, so they almost never, you know, have things under the Light Up the Stage that they can't play, except when they hit the Arclight Phoenixes. It would feel pretty bad if we lose to the Arclight Phoenix deck with the Arclight Phoenix in its exile, but it's turn 3 right now. This is just silly. Watching my opponent just go off here. Things might still be okay for us if this is where it ends. You know, if we take 5, we go to 13 here. Yeah, this seems great for me. Just slamming. Just going to slam the Trinisphere. I'll worry about everything else later. I'll untap and I'll ooze some stuff away if I need to. I'll Eternal Witness, whatever. But getting the Trinisphere down when my opponent's deck relies on, you know, one cost spells, pretty devastating for them. In fact, they have 2 lands and literally can't even play Magic right now. So I would say it worked out. In fact, I'm going to go one step further and say we're going to win the game with this play right here. You know, I guess I could keep it back to block. It's not like my opponent's going to be able to have 3 mana to play a spell to trigger it. But whatever. We'll untap and play our Vivian here and go from there. Trinisphere is a great card. I love it. Oh, never mind. I'm going to gain 7 life and put... We already have more action. So I'm going to gain 7 life and put a non-creature permanent back on top of their library. So, yep. Sorry, friend. You get to draw your mountain next turn. Good news is you're going to have a land drop this time. I know you didn't last time. And bad news is you don't get to do anything for the rest of the game. You know, playing this deck makes me think that this deck is sweet, don't get me wrong, but maybe Trinisphere is just an underplayed card in Modern, period, right? Like, this card is good. It's really good against all of these Phoenix decks. Alright, so I can Eternal Witness something here. I can just play Vivian if I want. I'm just going to play Vivian. Yeah, I'm in for an Elvish Mystic. Oh, it costs more. That's funny. It's hard to remember, all right? Cut me some slack. The whole point of playing this is it gets me every time I play cards like it. It's not that I think Trinisphere doesn't affect me. It's just like, oh, I play Trinisphere to beat my opponent. It's going to beat them, and you just never even think about it for yourself. It's like Chalice, you know. It's in the rare occasions where something comes up and you Chalice hurts your own deck. You're like, you just never even think about it. Fortunately, oh, and that's really, really punishing on Magic Online. Here's another Primal Command. Let's see if we can find an Acidic Slime or something. Stampeding Zero. Alright, so we're going to put a land back on top of their deck, guaranteeing they don't get to do anything next turn either. I got to go get an Acidic Slime. I guess we'll hit the Faithless Looting over here. Not that it probably matters all that much. Alright, put our opponent down to 8, pass the turn. We did it, everybody. We mono green controlled our opponent to death. Because now this acidic slime is going to take out one of their mountains, and they're just never going to cast a spell. Ever. Alright, there's a land. Vivian is just so good. You know, think about it. We've just been hitting lands with it, and that's exactly what we... There we go. We won the game. Vivian OP. Trinisphere OP. This deck is OP. It's so much fun, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'm loving this. This is great, everybody. Thank you so much. Let's do another. Hey, everybody. More mono green control here. So, I won't lie. This hand was quite risky, but the upside is there, so I'm doing it. You know, I say the upside's there. Maybe I should have mulliganed anyways. It's just so hard to mulligan Utopia Sprawl, Arbor Elf. The problem, I guess, is that we have Utopia Sprawl, Arbor Elf, but even if we get the payoff, we don't get to do anything with it. And now we probably don't have our Utopia Sprawl, so it might get kind of ugly kind of quickly here. Let's see what we hit. I think it was a reasonable keep. At least for my purposes, at least. So, yeah, I was a little worried about drawing 5 drops, I won't lie. Deck has quite a few of them. It wants to go 1, 3, 5. That's generally how it works. Alright, that's alright, though. We'll see what we got here. I don't know what Fettering Watergrave first means into Blood Crypt. I guess we're just playing against Grixis control here. My opponent doing themselves plenty of damage. Thoughtseize is actually just not even that good. Our hand's somewhat redundant. You know, they probably don't have a lot of targets for Ballista. And, you know, either we draw mana and we get a play, and then any of these spells are good, so Thoughtseize doesn't matter. Or we don't. This hand was so good, though. You know, the deck runs, I think, 6 Mana Dorks, 4 Utopia Sprawls. So, you know, if you think about it, the other 3 Sprawls are good. Oh, it's Grixis Death Shadow. Okay, not Grixis Control. Sure, whatever. Land? Alright. Fair enough. Risky keep. Trinisphere actually great in the matchup, though. Yeah, you know, we have the 5 other Mana Dorks or whatever we can draw. We have the 3 Utopia Sprawls. That's 8 plus, you know, 20 lands or whatever we're at. It's actually a reasonable percentage of our deck that pays off immediately on turn 2, and, you know, some amount of the deck that doesn't at all, right? So, but, you know, this hand was possibly good enough. All it took was a second land. You know, we could have had that land on turn 3 and still had, you know, a 5-drop on turn 3. So, well, there's a Utopia Sprawl. And the reality is that hand wasn't doing anything until turn 3 no matter what. Oh, I forgot to... maybe I don't even want to attack. Without immediately hitting a land, because we'd obviously have to tap the forest for the Utopia Sprawl. Alright, it's a 5/5 Death Shadow here. Make that a 7/7. I mean, it costs 1 mana. Why shouldn't it be a 12/12? Alright, I don't know if we're going to get there this game, nor do I have any clue what the matchup is actually like. We did not make it. Fair enough. Then again, that hand wasn't going anywhere anyways. Alright, Ratchet Bombs, very good. Yes, please. What is not good here? That's the question, right? I don't think the Ballistas are good, right? I mean, they're good against a small Death Shadow, but if we have it, I mean, they're also just... Our opponent can just, you know, fetch... Right, that's an onboard trick against it. They can just cycle a Shriek Wraith and get you an instant speed. I'm going to keep a Ballista, but I'm going to cut one as well. What is at its best here is all of our Death Touch creatures, and we have a billion of them. You know, this matchup's actually just probably fine for us, come to think of it. I want the Scoozes, I think. You know, they do have Snapcasters. That's a concern. I'm going to cut the Plow Unders. They're certainly good, but something's got to go. Yeah, these might be even worse, though. And counter, I mean, it is a stifle. It does kill them. But the problem is, we need to, because their deck runs so much discard, we don't want a lot of conditional things. We want solid cards that are going to impact the board. And that's why something like Ratchet Bomb is way better than Plow Under, which is, not that Plow Under isn't insane, because it is, but, you know, something's got to go, right? So, same with the Repudiates, Replicates. They can be very good, but they can also be a hand where you have one of these, you have a Plow Under, and then your opponent Thoughtseizes and kills your 2 best cards, and then your hand doesn't do anything. So I'm trying to stack the deck with high impact cards right here. And I don't know if that's Baloth or not. I don't hate Baloth. I kind of like the idea of keeping a Plow Under. Do I even want one of these? I just want to get a Stifle in, man. That's all I want. What's the point of playing Stifle in Modern? Not to stifle somebody. It feels so good. All right, I'm into this hand, though. This is the kind of hand I like. We have mana ramp that cannot be fatal pushed or what have you. Can't even be inquisitioned or thoughtseized. And then we have 3 5-mana cards. So, yeah, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. You know, good news is they can't be inquisitioned. In fact, it's just a mulligan if our opponent plays an Inquisition on turn 1 right now. On the other hand, we actually do need to cast them. And I don't know if casting them on turn 4 with this Utopia Sprawl is going to be quite good enough. So we're gonna need to draw something, I think. Draw some action. But I'm really hoping my opponent leads on Inquisition and we get to just get them. Oh, more broken than that, actually. Oops. Sorry about that. Opponent thinking it through. I'm not actually sure. I meant to get the Scavenging. I hope I pulled Scavenging Oozes in here. I obviously want them. And if I didn't, that was just an oversight. I apologize. It's late. Well, there's an Eternal Witness, but nothing to do with it yet. So I guess we'll just pass. The Death Touch creatures are what I want. This Acidic Slime, high value in the matchup. I guess you could still die to Team or Battle Rage. You know, they give it Double Strike and Trample and all that. But, alright, so this has been not ideal at all. We really, really, really wanted to hit a land, if nothing else. But I wanted to hit something I could play early. You know, even if it's just a Mana Dork to soak up a removal spell. Just give me something. Now we could very easily be in trouble. All of our spells get Stubborn Denial. My opponent could put together a giant Gurmag Angler or whatever they wanted, if I even get to cast anything. Yeah, that's a thing I can cast, not that it feels very good to do it. But it at least does something. We get some sort of, you know, we get the ball rolling, and I assume my opponent's just going to kill that, but then I have something to Eternal Witness at least. If we're not going to hit our land and get to try to play our big spells, let's at least try to do something. Alright, I'll ping them down. Not that that's what they want, but it's what I want too. Everyone's happy. I don't know why they have to kill my creature. Everyone's happy this way. Here comes the Thoughtseize. Well, Thoughtseize not very good here, actually. Thoughtseize accomplishes the goal of giving me something to do with my turn, hopefully, right? Either they Thoughtseize Eternal Witness, leave me stranded on 5-drops, or they Thoughtseize a good 5-drop, so I don't draw a land and play it next turn, and I buy it back with Eternal Witness. So they take the Witness. I assume this is going to be a Death Shadow of some sort. Angler. Okay, so they didn't have a way to deal themselves more damage quite yet. Land. Yeah, that was the turn. That was the turn where my opponent left up Stubborn Denial. That was the turn where I was going to play Acidic Slime and hit their land and then have a Death Toucher for their Gurmag Angler. Now things are going to get a little questionable. We'll see here. Acidic Slime, definitely my best card in the matchup. Wow, we are going to get an opportunity. Shockingly, they didn't have a removal spell. I'm sure they're sitting on Stubborn Denial. They always are. Okay. That's a nice sideboard card, actually. Disdainful Stroke. You know, it's kind of like, whatever. That's like a standard card. But, I mean, it's fine. It's a perfectly reasonable modern card as well. Can't get salty over this one. All right, so Serum Visions, they put 2 on top. Oh, just what I wanted to see. I probably shouldn't take 20 from this Gurmag Angler before I even get a chance to do anything about it. All right, so I'm assuming that anything I'm going to do is going to get countered. So what I'm, with that in mind, what I'm going to do is play Eternal Witness, a card that doesn't get Stubborn Denialed. Or Disdainful Stroked, for what it's worth. We'll buy back the Acidic Slime, and we'll give it another shot next turn. I feel like the best I can do this game is to play around Stubborn Denial. I don't think there's any room to try to get any trickier than that. I'll play around the Stubborn Denials as best I can. I think I'm willing to take one more. I'd like to have a blocker for a Death Shadow if possible. And there goes the Acidic Slime, huh? Okay, that's another Primal Command. Give it a shot. I could gain 7 life. No, I mean, I've just got to go for it. I've got a chump blocker. If they have nothing. Like I said, I really don't think this is going to work, but I don't think I have any better choices here. So we'll aim for that and see what happens. They could not Stubborn Denial that fast enough. I'm sure they have Snapcaster Stubborn. I don't know that I've ever played against Death Shadow where they didn't have Stubborn Denials. It feels that way because their deck is so good at just churning through and getting exactly what they want. And I also dismember, we died. All right, fair enough. Sometimes you get to have fun with mono green control, and sometimes your opponent just has 1 mana 5/5s and infinite counter magic. So that was a very clean game for Grixis Death Shadow. The matchup probably hit or miss, right? They're probably favored against us, but it's probably okay. We had a little bit of the first game, that was a loose keep on my part. The second game, poor luck, great hand by them. Happens. This was really fun, though. I really enjoyed this deck, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the deck tech for Mono Green Control. That's right. You heard it. Mono Green Control. So this deck is honestly, it's a pretty wild deck. Let me update here. So the cool part about our deck is that we are, in fact, a control deck. But we're mono green. All of those things are true. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to control our opponent's mana, basically, and their board. And we're going to restrict their mana while ramping our own. That's why you see Arbor Elf, Elvish Mystics, Utopia Sprawls. The whole package is here. Then notice we skip right to 3. There are no 2s in this deck, in the main deck anyways. But we've got Trinisphere in the main here at 3. As long as it's untapped, each spell costs 3 mana. If it would cost less, this is incredible. And we can play it on turn 2 quite a bit, thanks to these cards. E-Witness, just always good. Mwonvuli Acid-Moss, ramp us, destroy them, like I said. Same with Acidic Slime. It'll trade with one of their creatures, thanks to Death Touch. It'll trade with one of their lands or enchantments or artifacts or pretty much whatever you want with its ability. We've got Vivian Reed up here at the top. In standard standout, we've got Primal Commands. This one's great. It searches for your silver bullets. It's removal. It's life gain. It's all kinds of pretty sweet stuff. We've also got the Ballistas. That's a good payoff for mana. And Hornet Queen. Now, this will lock down any board. But we cannot forget the coolest one of all. The new one. The new edition here. Repudiate, Replicate. Stifle, everyone. It's in Modern. It costs 2, but it's there. And it has another ability. You can make a copy of a creature you control. And I won't lie, I have copied quite a few Hornet Queens with this. So it's pretty sweet. So what our deck wants to do is create a lock in the end game. And that's kind of how we're going to do that. Is this one's pretty important to that. Stampeding Cero, I don't know. But I do know it's good. Beginning of your upkeep, return a green creature you control to its owner's hand. Seems like a drawback, right? Well, not if you have a bunch of mana and you pick up Acidic Slimes and Hornet Queens. Yeah, you get the idea. Eternal Witnesses, that's what we want to do. Mana base, pretty straightforward. Bunch of forests and a Pendle Haven, because why not? So everybody, that is the deck. It's honestly pretty sweet. I'm excited about it. Sideboard, nothing too crazy, except I like this one. Raking Canopies. Is it Phoenix got you down? How about 4 damage to one every time they attack? More Ballistas, remember, make a lot of mana, so it's very good. Ratchet Bombs when you need to clean something up. Grafdigger's Cage, Tormod's Crypt, where they're relevant. Scavenging News the same, and Obstinate Baloth is always a good one to gain 4 life. So everybody, that is the deck. Mono green control. I've wanted to record with this one for a long time. I'm glad I was finally able to this week. Everybody, I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mighty Modern. Thank you for watching.